I'm Kathleen Weber, Advanced Certified and Accredited EFT Practitioner. That stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. I am so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you signed up for these free videos and for my email community. I love talking about EFT. It is my favorite topic for sure. And only because I know how effective these tools are. I know what a difference it has made for me. I know what a difference it made for my students when I was a school counselor. And I know what a difference it makes for my clients and for schools that I work with. So, in order to get started, we are going to talk about the nervous system and what's happening in the body and that fight, flight, freeze response that happens and why EFT is so effective. So, that's where we'll start today. The next video, I will introduce you to the tapping points and I will share one technique called silent tapping just to get you started. And then the third video is called Tap and Breathe, where I share another strategy with you using EFT and the tapping points to help calm your nervous system and to help you feel more regulated. So, today is about the nervous system. And I find that the easiest way to explain the nervous system is to borrow from Dr. Dan Siegel's hand model of the brain. I use this to explain to students. I used it when I was in school. I use it to explain to adults. I used it with a group of attorneys to help explain it to them. So I find that this is an adaptable metaphor and model that we can use to explain EFT to a variety of people, regardless of age. So if you would like to join me, you're welcome to put your hand in the form of a fist with your thumb tucked underneath. So, when it comes to the nervous system and the body, we are constantly reading signs. We're using our senses to take in signs from our environment, looking for cues of safety and danger. And we're also picking up on signs that happen coming from within the body. So these messages come up through the spine. We're going to imagine that my forearm is my spine, our spine, and traveling up through the spine into the brain. So here, the palm of my hand represents the brainstem. This is our survival center. So the brainstem controls all of our life functions, survival skills, right? So our breathing, our circulation, our digestion, all those systems, excuse me, that keep us alive. That's the brainstem. Underneath my fingers is my thumb. This represents the limbic system. The limbic system is also known as the emotion center of the brain. So here we have the amygdala, which is our alarm center for the fight, flight, freeze response. That's right here. And right next to the amygdala is the hippocampus, where we store long-term memories. So if we have a memory from even a couple of weeks ago, and we have an emotional attachment to it, that emotion can come up very quickly when we're reminded of something from our external worlds or our internal worlds. And this amygdala can be activated pretty quickly, that fight, flight, freeze response. So this is the emotion center of the brain. And when I close my fingers over my thumb, this is our logical, rational thinking part of the brain. This is the cortex. And right here, where my fingernails are, this is the prefrontal cortex. So when we talk about executive functioning skills, they're housed right here, which is really right behind your eyebrows. So the prefrontal cortex is where all of those skills that we need to be functional and successful, whether we're a student in school or whether we're holding a job down or being a parent or whatever the case may be, these are those skills that we need to be successful. So, communication skills, listening, and finding the right words and being able to process and get that information out. Um, our ability to focus and concentrate, pay attention, that's right here. Our ability to stay on task, our ability to initiate a project and keep going with it. Also, our empathy is right here. So, these are really important skills that we need to have access to. And when we are calm, I'm going to turn my hand sideways. Perhaps you can see all of these systems or parts of the brain are communicating with each other. So, those survival mechanisms within the body, our systems, the emotions, and our thoughts, and those executive functioning skills, it's all working together. And I know for myself, when I am calm, that's when I make my best decisions for sure. The problem comes when we pick up on something either from our external environment or the internal environment that activates that fight, flight, freeze response. And it could be anything. And it doesn't even have to be something that makes sense to you. It can just happen automatically without you even really thinking about it. But if the body picks up on something that doesn't feel safe for whatever reason, that message shoots right up into the amygdala. It sounds the alarm, and we flip our lid. We flip our lid. And what that means is we now lose connection with our rational thinking part of our brain. So, what's happening is our resources are diverted away from maintaining that connection to go out to our limbs, because if we truly are in danger, we need to have additional energy, that extra energy in our limbs to be able to fight or flee. Or that energy then goes down into our body, into our organs to preserve and numb us to keep us safe. It's all about survival. And it doesn't mean that, those triggers coming in are necessarily survival types of triggers. It could be, that you hear a dog barking, but they're behind a fence. And that still could be enough to activate that alarm and flip your lid and not be able to reason your way through it. This is where EFT comes in, because when we are in this flipped state, we cannot talk ourselves out of these feelings, out of that fight, flight, freeze response. It's not possible. And I know I've experienced that before, where I haven't been able to talk myself out of feeling anxious or angry or whatever that sensation, that emotion is. And quite honestly, if we are truly in a dangerous situation, we don't want to be able to talk ourselves out of that. We want that survival mechanism to take over to keep us alive. That's what it's there for. But when we are activated and our amygdala sounds the alarm when it's not a life or death situation, when it's not an emergency, that's when we run into trouble, right? It interferes with our ability to do our job or to show up in a way that we want to be able to show up. This is the beauty of EFT. When we tap on particular acupressure points, we send a calming signal to that emotion center of the brain to help it calm down. And as we do that, calm that response, we gradually bring our cortex, our prefrontal cortex back online so that we can then talk ourselves through things and recognize, oh, okay, that dog is behind a fence. I don't have anything to worry about. So, this is the beauty of EFT. We have the ability to communicate with that emotion center of the brain without trying to talk ourselves out of feeling a certain way. We're acknowledging, yes, I do feel this way. And we apply the tapping to help calm that response down to bring us back to a more regulated state. So I hope that this video makes sense to you and that you can relate to what's happening in the body when we are activated and when we do feel that emotional trigger come and take over. So stay tuned for the next video where I introduce you to those tapping points and we cover silent tapping, and just to help get you started with regulating your body and regulating your nervous system. Thank you.